I literally had a fight with a business coach, which I was working with just before joining Creator College. And I was like, I just feel like nobody gets it.
I actually experienced the exact same feelings probably in year one of me doing my first business.
That session with you, and when you shared that, I was like, whoa.
Most people don't recognize what it looks like introspectively, the constant anxiety, the constant guilt that you feel like you should be doing more, but you can't seem to get yourself to do more.
The creator vision, I really felt blocks kind of moving in my mind.
The fact that you took feedback at that speed and then you were able to then not only apply it, but have success with it, it was mind blowing. And I knew even from our very first conversations that you had the right type of energy, but also perspective in the content space.
This has been the best investment that I have made because every single thing that I've been able to apply has really maximized results.
So, well, Simone, thank you so much for joining us for our very first interview. You were part of Creator College cohort number 1, and you were an awesome student. But let's quickly speak on your experience prior to joining. Can you tell me a little bit about where you were as a creator and perhaps some of the struggles that you were experiencing?
Thinking before Creator College, I had absolutely no idea how to run this machine that I had. I've invested in a lot of courses over my life with business coaches and coaches, and they would always teach me about business and like the sales and, like email marketing and all these things behind the scenes. But none of them could help me with like I really called it like I have this machine because everything for me has always just came from Instagram. And I got really frustrated in that. I literally had a fight with a business coach, which I was working with just before joining Creator College, where I was like, like I have this Instagram page and I've got these things. And he would always tell me, like, forget about that. You should worry about your emails. And
Oh,
I just had ick for it. And I was like, I just feel like nobody that I'm working with gets it. And it was really hard for me to also find someone that I felt like can also give me the holistic approach. Because of course, learning the business side about it was really great and to know how to build a business. But with content creation, I was so much more interested in that because somehow it just happened for me naturally that my content was
mm,
starting to like some reach. And Creator College was just like more than what I expected. So I would say beforehand, I was kind of a little lost. I didn't know which way to go. I didn't know what to post. I didn't know what content really is, like the ability of what it can actually do and where it can take me. So yeah, that's my little lowdown of before.
and I knew even from our very first conversations that you had the right type of energy, but also perspective in the content space, and knowing that there needs to be a synergy between what you're calling the business and the mix of content, which is that machine. And I love the way that you're putting that. Maybe we just call it the machine from this point forward. But I'm curious then, so while you were in Creator College, what did you kind of change your perspective on from both sides? Yes, the business, which you already had going before you joined Creator College, was very impressive. But then how did you find that synergy with the content side? What did you learn particularly that helped you kind of unlock this next step for you?
What really helped me to unlock the next step within my content from learning from Creator College, there was something specifically that you said in one of the live cohorts that we had that literally changed everything for me. Where you mentioned that in your journey, when you were growing, you got so focused on the numbers,
Mm,
and then the numbers were the thing that you constantly kept looking at, and the content creation would kind of go onto the side. And I felt like I was very much there. And in fact, I was feeling so low and unfulfilled, even though I would see I get more success, I'm making more money, and yeah, I'm getting more reach. But it was so crazy because in that moment that I was focusing on that, I couldn't focus on the content creation. And it made me more anxious when I wanted to create. So I had this really bad relationship with my Instagram where I knew that this is the part where it's going to bring me so much more opportunity, but I felt so lethargic in even thinking about posting or creating content because I was just so focused. Oh, but if I put this out there, am I actually going to make more money? Is it actually going to reach? And it just
mm.
left me almost stuck. And that was something that was a really big takeaway for me because going through that session with you and when you shared that, I was like, whoa. And you mentioned that you should always keep creating at the forefront. And that allowed me to think about creating content as fun. That
Mm.
business all comes in as a secondary thing because I'm having fun creating content. And I have to tell you, I can't like it's literally been the biggest freedom for me in my mind that I've experienced because I've had this tug of war with Instagram for such a long time. Now I can actually breathe and be like, whoa, like it's not even about that.
You made such a good point in regards to feeling stuck. And it's an experience that I think every creator goes through, especially if you're trying to build a business on the back skirts of it. And most people don't recognize what it looks like introspectively, the constant anxiety, the constant guilt that you feel like you should be doing more, but you can't seem to get yourself to do more. And then both sides end up suffering, right? Because then ultimately you feel like you're not fulfilling enough on the business side, or you feel that you're too stuck in that side. So you feel like the content side isn't fun. And therefore you burn out on both sides. I actually experienced the exact same feelings probably in year one of me doing my first business when we were selling the guide to academic success and learning system. Every single month, it felt like the financial numbers were going up, but simultaneously, it felt like I was spending less time on the content. But then when you lose control over that organic traffic source, then what? Then what? And then how do you resolve that as a business owner? Now you can't. So the ability to put content at the forefront is exactly everything that I try to speak to, but it's so cool that you've experienced that firsthand. You saw the result of what it feels like to put content first. I'm curious to dive a bit deeper into that, just because I know it's a universal experience. When you did start to find that momentum, because I know that it wasn't immediate, but it was after we had those conversations, it was after some of those cohort classes, but then you did start taking that very much seriously, and you're one of the best at actually putting what we taught into immediate implementation. How did that momentum feel? How did it feel when you just started to get in this flow of like, I have this content system that I can now start posting consistently, but also now I'm slowly starting to figure out the synergy behind the business and that type of momentum versus what it felt like to be stuck? I'm curious to hear your perspective.
I think with the part of feeling stuck as a creator, business owner, is that there's so much noise, first of all.
Mm.
You need to learn so many different things. And, being an entrepreneur and working online is pretty cool. But once you actually put someone in your shoes, they're like, oh my gosh, like this is a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff that goes in. And I think with the fact that there's so much noise out there, for myself personally as a creator, and I've heard some other creators talk about it, self comparison is just it's such a
Mhm.
hard to deal with. And I think we know this, right? Like it's the thief of all joy. And with that self comparison, like I would start with something, but then see someone else do something different. And I'll immediately almost just give up on this thing, be like, oh, but this wasn't enough. Like I need to try the next thing. And then start the next thing. But then other creator posts this, like, oh, I should probably do this. And then a business coach speaking about this and oh, I need to try this. That that feeling, almost like now feeling that this concept that I just tried wasn't enough, it started translating into me feeling not enough.
Mm.
And I think when you don't feel enough, it's hard to put yourself out there to even create content because now you're dealing with this internal struggle and it starts getting really spiritual. It's not just the mental, it starts getting spiritual and you have these battles on the inside, which makes it hard to put yourself out there authentically, which this is the whole point about it is by putting yourself out there authentically. And by going through Creator College, the creator vision, that was the part like I really felt blocks kind of moving in my mind and walls coming down because now it wasn't about self comparison at all. It literally actually took away that entire concept of like comparison with others because now you have something that is based off of who you are and your story and your journey. And you can also look at other creators and just see it as inspiration. There's no more comparison with that. And that for me was like the biggest freedom as well. And just bringing me so much more peace. Where I kid you not, like I was really struggling so much internally at night that I would constantly have these ideas in my mind and I would have all the ideas, but so lethargic I wouldn't be able to like implement them. And since going through Creator College, there's been so many shifts for me on the inside. I almost feel like there's been an identity shift more towards being closer, more authentic to who I am as a person. So I really feel like it set me free.
The way that you've framed both of those elements in terms of one, the introspection and how do you view other people's content is one of the big key takeaways that we hope students take from Creative College. And it's a thought that it's really hard not to compare yourself on social media, especially. It's hard to compare yourself in any job, but when your job lives online, it is almost one of the most impossible situations to be in. Nobody really talks about that. But you're totally right. Sometimes we lose the personal aspect to personal branding and the ability to go back to the creative vision as the forefront of everything that we do. And we literally reviewed creative visions all throughout, just with that idea that it will continuously evolve and make you feel more aligned with the content that you're producing. And then two, you talked about looking at other people's content as inspiration. And it's the harmony between the two. It's understanding your creative vision so that it's unique to you, and then understanding what algorithmically works so that you have a unique video that has its highest likelihood for success. So the way that you framed that was perfect. And you had mentioned the word expectations throughout this. And that is one thing that we really tried hard on to over deliver, hopefully the fulfillment side of it. And the way that you started off this call by saying the expectations that you had for Creative College and the coming inside of it, it exceeded your expectations. And I would love to hear more about that. So tell me about before you joined, what you knew about it, because we didn't know each other. It wasn't necessarily like it was a friend to friend relationship when you're joining. You had to take a trust into Creative College and you did that. And then what did it feel like once you were inside? I want to hear those expectations and how it felt like to be inside and where those expectations really met.
Before Creator College, as I mentioned, I've done a few other courses. I've worked with some coaches before that would give information. And by myself, like I would study content and I would study other creators. As I started realizing about, kind of like backtracking, looking at someone's funnel and understanding what they're doing. So I had a lot of knowledge in my mind, like so much knowledge, but I didn't really know how to place it. And I don't even know if it would work. So all of this information, but it's scattered and it could work or it could not work. And when we started off with learning about everything in Creative College, such as TikTok, Instagram, the creative vision, monetization, so many of the things that I learned was put into Creator College. And I mean, some of the stuff I had to pay for before, like a lot of money to even get access to minimal information of what I got in Creator College. That the moment that I got in and we started having the live calls every single day for like the duration of the weeks, I was so blown away by the fact that all of the information that was given were things that I've seen over time, but it was laid out in a structure that hands down, and I'm not even just saying this because you're in front of me, but I've even told like my friends, those that know that I've been investing in a lot of things, this has been the best, and I do believe in all of the things that I've invested in, has been the best investment that I have made because I'm not even done through the course yet, right? Like we've spent all this time together. There's so much information, and every single thing that I've been able to apply has really maximized results in ways that you can't even see on my social media. It definitely changed me as a person, as a creator, as a business owner. And I mentioned before, like it literally like there's been an identity shift. And that's why like it really exceeded my expectations because you have kind of an idea of what you would invest in when you invest in a course and with a coach. But this is unlike anything I've ever had before because I think the biggest part about that was the level of care and intention. When you reached out to me, you took personal time out of your day to go through my profile, which was like outside of the cohort calls. And you're like, hey, you know what? Like, I have this idea. I think you should try it. And then I did try it and it just boomed. So that personal care and attention really sets Creator College apart from anything that I've even seen online.
And that means the world to me because I thought about you a lot. I thought about the students a lot. And when I was going onto your page, I believe from my time, it was about 11 or 12 a.m. And I'd seen the piece of content from your page. I was like, wait, let me go through her page because I think I saw a common thread. And then I DM'd you. But the coolest part about what you have done is not only did I DM you and you just took that knowledge and you thought, okay, great. You DM'd me probably like 7, 8 hours later saying, hey, June, I implemented this, what happened? And that was mind blowing on my end because even sometimes for myself, it's hard when I notice something to implement it for myself. But the fact that you took feedback at that speed and then you were able to then not only apply it, but have success with it, it was mind blowing. And that's what made the team so confident that you were going to have a ton of success because to then take information in, apply it, then be able to give it back to us in regards to the feedback so that we could further help you. It was, I thought, a beautiful synergy between the two of us and the whole group. I think that's why the team enjoyed working with you so much as well. I'm curious now, it is such an interesting system behind a cohort because people may one immediately love the idea of a cohort, or two maybe feel shy in a cohort because it is a lot of people, quote unquote. It is 100 students within the cohort experience. But I'm curious to hear your perspective. What was it like to meet some of the other creators? The whole idea of doing a cohort was always founded on the idea that we love to have an accountability network when we are creators, because locally I never had it growing up. For the first 3, 4 years, there wasn't a single person around me physically that I could rely on. But here, it was a cool experience for us to watch some of you guys become friends and getting a chance to, even if you weren't necessarily personal friends, you had the opportunity to be accountability network to each other. So, can you talk to me about what it felt like to meet some of those other creators?
Meeting some of the other creators is probably that adds so much to this identity shift that I could also experience. Because seeing other creators and the things that they were struggling with and what they were dealing with, it just made you feel, well, it made me feel like I'm not alone in this. And I'm not the only person that's going through this kind of level of discomfort, the overthinking, the overanalyzing about content. And then you see creators of different sizes of profiles. And you might think that this person is absolutely crushing it. And then they have the same insecurity what you have. And you're like, well, wow. Like, I thought it's just me, and it gave me so much more confidence and also just showing up because I would realize, wow, like, this girl out there that's got, like, 100K followers, she deals with the same internal, like, battle as well, but she's posting and she's still growing. So if she can do it, I can do it. And, like, the whole community aspect of it as well. Even after, like, after Creator College ended, myself and Ricky, we started an Instagram group, and all of our creators, you probably don't even know, I don't know if you know it, but we started an Instagram group where we're all still keeping each other accountable. We're still sharing content, ideas, motivating each other. And it's just so cool because I've made new friends. And I think specifically in this journey with content creation, I did feel very lonely. You know, I live in a very small town in South Africa at this moment because I was like, okay, I need a lock in, I want to be focused. But without you realizing it, all of a sudden you're so isolated because nobody kind of gets what you're doing. So having this community online, like, I always have these friends all over the world, and we're just putting our minds together where we can be like, "Yo, did you just get that in the cohort? Like, oh my gosh, this is so insane!" And then we would just implement and give each other some feedback. And this is the great part about Creator College because of the cohort. You literally get to step into college, you have friends, and you have these experiences and memories together. Like, we made memories together. It wasn't just, oh, you buy a course and then you go on, like, on your own timeline, because I think a lot of us know how that goes. You get distracted and you're like, oh, I'll get back to that. And then you kind of don't get back to it. But when you have friends in the background, like, hey, did you do this? Did you see that? It's just so much easier to stay accountable.
The group chat, by the way, is genuinely one of the coolest updates I've ever received. I remember when Shatika, lovely person on our team, had mentioned to me, "Did you know that Ricky and Simone put together a group chat?" I said, "What do you mean we put together a group chat?" And then they told me that it was on Instagram and that you literally personally invited people to join. And that is unbelievable, right? One, we were just trying to curate a structure to hopefully have accountability. But the fact that you took that separate from Creative College and you were able to build even personal relationships is unreal. Did that group chat just happen naturally? Was it just a thought that you and Ricky had and it formulated in that capacity?
Yeah, myself and Ricky, we were having back and forth conversations on just like between the two of us. And we were already anticipating the end of Creator College and we didn't want it to end and just going back and forth with it because we knew that obviously like it's gonna come to an end and we won't have Discord where everybody's just like huddling together. And I think all of us are spending a lot more time on Instagram. So you're always on Instagram. And he was like, shall we not just like create another like Discord? I said, you know what, why don't we just take it on Instagram? We're all on here already, and this is the best way for us to just like share content in there. So when someone's posting something or we find something cool about anything, we would just post it in there. And it's still on. Like, if I go onto my Instagram right now, there's probably like 5, 7 messages already.
That's crazy. So it's just genuinely you guys out of desire to talk with each other more, an opportunity for you to connect. So you guys are just sending post inspirations, you're sending probably your own posts that hype each other up. That's what the group chat is for.
Yeah, and really to help each other keep building because a lot of us have not yet even gone through the course. I think a lot of us, we went into it and we were like, okay, we're just going to implement whatever we learn in the live cohorts. And you can see that there was a few of us that really showed up to all those live cohorts. Like we were there and we implemented right from there. Um, but now our conversation is always like, okay, guys, like, what are we going to do now? Like, have you gone through this part of the course yet? And then someone might have, and then they would give a little piece of information. So it's again, it's almost like accountability, but the energy, like the energy of the group of people that you were able to attract within Creator College. Because when you put a course or if you put something out there, you do attract people that are going to relate to you. And honestly, June, like you've been able to collect a bunch of people that are so cool, like so many cool creators that were in that group. And everybody's just like so excited to help each other win. It's like a winning culture where we were just talking about the fact, like if you're getting into this place of comparison and like you see someone else doing better than you, everybody in this group is just so focused on helping each other win. And that's the culture that you've been creating through Creator College.
That is the best that I could ever hear. I mean, it's one thing to try and put together an environment, but it's another to have the right people involved. And I remember when we were first doing the cohort, I had to do those private invites. And I mean, I had, as in, that is what I wanted the experience to be. I wanted everyone involved to be people that I knew could join with the right type of ambition, intention, that they had the willingness to work hard, but were also kind and empathetic. And it was that type of winning culture. And the fact that you're echoing back to me that that happened without me telling you that that was the goal is really, 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 really cool. And just for the entire audience to have context of what you're saying, which is so immensely powerful, Creator College, the education platform, already hosts over 300 masterclasses and 100 resources inherently. So when people sign up, that's what they receive. And some people are really good at doing self-paced courses, but you're totally right. In regards to the ability to have a cohort live environment where people are held to another level of accountability was an experiment. And in full honesty, we had no idea if we were ever going to run a second cohort. We had genuinely no idea. We thought, okay, let's give this a best go to best understand our audience and to best understand people like you and people like Ricky and Arabella and things of those likes. And then when you had joined, we are like, oh my gosh, they're actually winning at such a high level. And we love doing it. So that's where we made Cohort 2 official. Now, with that being said, I know that it's been probably a week or so since the last celebration call for Creator College. And I know it's been probably a little bit longer than that since we've personally discussed. So tell me what you've been up to during that period of time. Maybe you have some news for me, but tell me about some of those wins. Tell me about the things that you've been able to accomplish at your time, because you've certainly been one of the standout students for Creative College Cohort number one.
I appreciate that very much. And it just shows you how much I really enjoyed it as well because since Creator College has ended, it was so ridiculous. The last 2 weeks for the past 2 weeks and, like, the in already, like, leading up in the last week of Creator College, I got really sick, which made it hard to create new content, so I had to use, like, some B-roll, but I really didn't even feel while I'm posting, but my messaging was so strong, and I truly believe in intention behind when you're posting. So when you have that authenticity, certain things and just, like, you just attract things that are for you. And what happened even like within that time of me not posting as much and then Creator College ending, I can't tell you how insane it has been because I got reached out from a company that I've known about. I've never personally even like reached out to them, but a biohacking company. And probably you know this company as well, but they're called Lumen, which is where you actually. I was like, what? And they text me, it's like, "Hey, we really love to work with you in a partnership. Like, what do you think?" I was like, "Whoa, this is Lumen. Like, this is like a big biohacking company." And that was so awesome. And then the next thing that happened, now my boyfriend lives in Sri Lanka. And I also know that for my business, like going to a place like Dubai is a good place to build network and make something from the connections that I built there. And I've always had this mindset like, okay, like maybe I should just like dabble a little bit in like going to Dubai again. And the most insane thing happened literally this week. I got a text from a lady. They are starting a biohacking hub in the UAE, and she lives in Sri Lanka. And she is starting this business because she had massive retreats that she's been running in Sri Lanka for all this time. And she wants me on the panel of the people that she's gonna help build out this hub. I'm like, whoa. So it's not even me like being employed, right? Like I literally get to be part of a panel helping like create this biohacking hub. It's so insane. Like it's so insane. Everything is just so in line with things that I would imagine. And I mean, it's so crazy because that intention for me inwardly, also like being in Sri Lanka closer to my boyfriend as we're doing long distance, knowing that Dubai is the place to really build connections and thrive in this business. And now I kind of have this connection that goes both ways because hub will be in the UAE and then certain private events and retreats will happen in Sri Lanka. I'm like, whoa, you've got to be kidding me. Like, it's so unreal. It's so unreal. And with that, like while being in Creative College, I obviously got reached out from this company where now I'm planning my very first retreat. And that's just something that I was like dreaming about something like that. So this happened, I think, in the third or fourth week in Creator College where I got reached out from this company. And it's just been so surreal because not only did I get the option for planning this retreat with them, they also paid me to create content for them. I'm like, "Whoa," like double whammy. So it's just so incredible, right? Like sometimes it really isn't even about getting the most views or the most followers, but when you're posting with intention, you know the direction of where you wanna go, you have the focus, the right things can finally come to you. And then it's no more of the noise and the distractions. It's actually like this one road that you're gonna go down.
I am so unbelievably proud of you from a personal level. Simone, I remember our very first conversations. I remember those DMs. I remember going through your page before any of this even started, knowing that you were a good fit for us and knowing that I want to personally work with you. Then having those conversations and even feeling those feelings even stronger at that point where I knew your intention was in the right place. I knew that you were a hard worker. I knew that you had the right type of ambition. But in that period of time, you were so lost. You were constantly telling me that it felt like constant noise, that everything felt chaotic. And to know that you were in that situation, to know how uncomfortable you were in that period, to then going and telling me that you just told me three large wins. I didn't even think that you were gonna tell me three separate, completely different but humongous wins for you as a personal brand and as a creator. And what's so beautiful about those wins is that they even solidify your personal brand further. It's not even just a brand deal for the money, but it's brand deals that have the money, but also establishing credibility now to different audience and exposure. And those are the type of high value partnerships that we always speak on. And the fact that you did that in that short span of time in the cohort is unreal. And I just want to tap into this just a bit deeper because it is so unbelievable from my end. So I can't imagine how it feels like to, let's say, a non-creator to listen in on this, or creators that are probably struggling a lot to know that in that short span of time that we had the creator college cohort, that you've been able to go from this confusing, chaotic mental state, and you even called it a spiritual state, to now being in a position where you have three ginormous wins. Your engagement is going the right direction. Tell me about how that makes you feel genuinely from your position as a creator.
So going from chaos to clarity would be the best way to explain this. And I think if anyone in entrepreneurship or in this journey of pursuing entrepreneurship would have read some books and, it's like Simon Sinek, Start with Why. So you might know all these things and you know that it's important to have a strong vision and intention of where you want to go. But putting it into implementation is sometimes not as easy. We are constantly in a place of like information overload. And I think that is the great reason why everything is happening for me right now and so fast because the intention has always been there, but now with the added clarity, the intention knows where to travel. And I think that is the biggest reason why I get to experience this level of success because I have some some content right now that's not reaching as much. But then I'm having all these incredible like things that are happening, which it's not even on my social media. And I think that's what sometimes, like as a creator, you get so stuck on those metrics and the external stuff. But truly it's about like the internal things. Like it's like the energetics of stuff. When you actually get clarity on where you want to go, who you are, the message that you want to put out there, you can finally speak to the right people. And speaking to the right people also means that it's a higher quality audience. And you might not even have the most of that because high quality audience isn't really that much. So it's really like it's for me, it's like going from chaos to clarity. Now that I've gone through Creator College, I can't tell you how much easier it is to just like shut out the noise because even if I see this person or this coach talking about this, it's like, yeah, I'm good. Like I actually got everything that I need and I know exactly where I'm going and I know who I am. And I just want to keep going down this road. And that's what I even told you. Like, I don't even think that I need to invest in any other course or coach or thing ever again. Like I found my tribe. I know that this is for me like a North Star and I'm just gonna stick to it. And that brings me so much peace because I've been all over the place before. All over the place. It's been years, literally years.
Everything that you're saying right now, I can't tell you how much of a dream come true it is because when we were planning for Creator College, it's been a very long experience trying to put this together to get the right people involved, even from an internal team's perspective. And in those first meetings, setting the foundation for what we always dreamt of, we thought it would take time. We thought that, all right, maybe the first cohort would be one experience that we could do our very best. And we will do everything that we possibly can to show the intention and clarity and to do our very best to show that our students, we care. But the fact that you're saying all of this in just a short span of time and our very first cohort gives me the greatest joy in the entire world. And you said something that you said so nonchalantly, but I can't tell you how impressive it is because even when I meet larger creators that have been doing it for 10 plus years, what you've just said there, where you were in sickness, and I know you were, as in you were physically sick, you were not feeling well, and you still got up and you still were able to get content up because you had the system behind you, understand what it looked like to repurpose content. You still got it up. And during that span of time is when the big wins happen is unreal. Because if you think about the excuses that we often tell ourselves as creators where we can't show up, maybe we're not feeling so great, or maybe we're very busy. You were all of that and you still showed up and you still did the work of the actual inputs. And for that, I'm so unbelievably proud of you more than anything else. It's the ability to be consistent because now that consistency gives you that clarity of that personal branding foundation that you can build upon for many, many years to come. So, Simone, that is unreal. And I have one more question for you in regards to, and you've probably done already a really good job of this, but if someone was on the fence of joining Creator College, the cohort number 2, or in the future cohorts that we have available, how would you get them to come over that fence and join Creator College? What is it about it that people can experience and feel that it would be beneficial for them?
I would tell someone that's on the fence right now thinking about joining Creator College, and I'm literally gonna personify this and I'm gonna speak exactly to this person. I know that you've tried a lot of things. I know you're struggling and you're thinking, what is the right way to go? You're doing so much, and somehow you don't feel like you're getting ahead. You have invested in courses, you've invested with coaches, but somehow you're still feeling like, oh, it's just not it yet. I'm still working very hard. I have all this information going on and just not sure what the way is to go. And inside, you feel like you know that you should have so much more. You know that you can achieve so much more. If you are this person that I'm speaking to right now, Creator College is going to absolutely blow your mind and bring you to peace. And you're going to finally be able to step into that place where you know exactly what you need to be posting. You're going to know exactly who you're like who you're going to be talking to, and you're going to really step into that place where you're going to be walking in your own lane. And then all of this worries and the overload of information is just going to disappear. And I'm sure that you would want that. So if you're on the fence of this, I'm going to encourage you. There is nothing better. And if you do, I'm going to see you on the inside.
I don't know if there's a better way to wrap it up than that statement. Oh my goodness, I couldn't have said that any better. Simone, where can they find you on socials when we post this on YouTube and my own socials to give you the highlight and the spotlight for being one of the best students that we could have ever imagined? And for doing that in our very first cohort, you hold a very special place in our hearts too. So tell the audience where they can find you.
Well, they can find me on Instagram at I am Simone Style, specifically under my personal brand, which is also Biohack Her. So that's basically where I'm posting right now. So they can reach out to me on there and connect. If they want to know anything about this journey, I'm more than happy to also answer any questions.
That's a wrap for today's spotlight. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. I loved working with you. I mean, you've been like killer on every level, Simone. And I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you have the external kind of person to tell you that what you're doing is special and that it's not very often that that happens in this space. You have literally like everything that it takes. And I don't know how you upkeep this positive energy every single time I talk to you. I don't know how you've been able to do that throughout the last 2 months now that I've been in conversation, but there's never been a dull moment with you. There's never been a moment in which your energy has been down. It's like always, always top notch. And so I'm like personally grateful that you've joined and hopefully we have you back in another cohort.
Yeah. Well, the last thing that I get to say from that is, June, in full honesty, when I decided to make that investment in Creator College, I literally prayed in an agreement with God that I am going to be the one that's going to stand out in Creator College. Like it has to be me. Like I literally told her, I was like, it has to be me. Like I have to be able to like really like crush it, get it out the park. And then I even got sick, right? So I almost felt like a little defeated. I was down. Like I was showing up on the cohorts and I would put my camera off because I just sit there like half dying. And I was just like, so hearing this feedback, it's like a answer to prayer. And I should go thank God for that so much. So all of this, all of this excitement, the positivity, keeping it up, it's because I pray and I trust God.
I mean, I prayed a lot too, and he must have answered both of our prayers because I was hoping that I have a student like you, and the fact that God has positioned it so that we have both wins in our lives, it's only in His sovereign plan that we could have ever had that happen. And I was praying yesterday when I had messaged you, and I knew that we were scheduling our first call, and I prayed and I said, "Thank you so much for bringing someone like Simone into my life because the impact that you've had on me, not just from a professional level in terms of creative college, but on a personal level, the type of excitement and the type of energy that you exude in your daily just I don't know how you do it, but it's like a daily type of presence that you've been giving me since
How
literally
you think?
I think you hit it out of the park every time in conversation. I come out and we're like, cool, she was the right person for this. And I remember praying nonstop and while I was flying to Dubai, while I was doing the shoot in Austin, thinking, I really hope, God, this is worth the investment of time and energy. And I really hope that we have an opportunity to make some beautiful relationships that go much deeper than business. And I feel that I had with you. I feel that I'm doing that with your brother. So thank you so much, Simone. I'll speak to you very, very soon. You are fantastic.
So are you, June. You're the best. Thank you so much for this awesome interview. This is an awesome opportunity.